Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with spiritual speaker and author Susan Michel. She speaks on A Course in Miracles, which she has been studying for over 30 years. Her book is entitled Surrender to Joy, From Suicide to Serenity. She is a two-time suicide survivor and understands firsthand what being overwhelmed with pain feels like. Her mission is to help others identify and process emotional pain so transformation can occur and they can grow and open their own innate brilliance. Enjoy this interview.
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent. It's great to meet you. Thank you for taking a minute after the program.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to speaking with you.
You have a fascinating story, and I'm really looking forward to delving into it. There's so many facets to go into it, but I think probably we should address the elephant in the room first and foremost. This last 3 years going through this pandemic has worked on all of us in its own specific ways, and I'm curious how you survived that 3-year period and how it's changed the way that you live life and conduct business now.
Well, for me, it slowed me down. So instead of racing around all the time, it just allowed me to connect with myself, which is everything that I teach. In the beginning of the pandemic, because I was working for a company prior to the pandemic and I was flying nationally on a pretty regular basis, then the pandemic hit and it stopped me and the gyms closed down, so I couldn't use the gyms as an outlet, which I'm used to doing. So I just made adjustments. I started working out outside, running outside, so that took care of my cardio fix. I started being very disciplined about my meditation, meditating every morning, and it also allowed me to finish my book because when I was running all around with the job that I had before the pandemic, I kept putting that on the back burner, and my work came first. But the pandemic also allowed me to finish my book. So I did get depressed in the beginning of the pandemic, just like everyone else. But as we got to the end of the pandemic, I think it allowed me to go within, which is everything that I teach in my book and everything that I believe based on my studies of A Course in Miracles.
So let's get into the essence of exactly who you are and what you do on a daily basis. And I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of grade school kids, let's say second graders at a career day. One of the kids looks up at you and asks, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
Well, what I do when I first get up is I take time for myself. First, I actually go to the kitchen and I have my little ritual of doing a few things around the kitchen. And then after I have a cup of coffee, I come into my workspace and I focus on A Course in Miracles lesson, which is a positive affirmation. We can think negatively or we can think positively. The choice is up to us. So when I focus on this Course in Miracles meditation, it forces my mind to focus on the good. And then I go into a 25-minute meditation to really focus on the good. The 25 meditation is probably something that is easier when you're a little older to do. But even in second grade, I think just I've done this with my godson, who's just about in second grade. We do a little 5-minute meditation together, and to focus the mind on positive stuff, positive things is just so fabulous. And what I'm doing right now in terms of my day is I do different things. I have one job doing some promotional modeling, another job which is again I assist seniors in a local nursing home, which I greatly enjoy. And then a lot of my day is talking about my book, being a guest on podcasts, working on my website. But what I really focus on is the power of the mind. So I realize that it doesn't matter what I do, I really have to be happy on the inside first. So I am grateful for my knowledge about this positive mental attitude that I study. And I'm also grateful for this spiritual book that I found 33 years ago entitled A Course in Miracles, because miracles are always available to us if we're focused on the positive.
So when you were in the third grade, what was your dream growing up? What did you want to be?
Well, I think I wanted to be either a cash register girl, a flight attendant, I guess I called it a stewardess at the time, or a model. So all three came true. The cash register girl I thought was super cool because I loved the way, the people that checked me out at the different department stores would whiz around on the cash register. I thought it would be fun to fly around in airplanes, and I thought being a model would be very glamorous. So all three came true. They didn't really make me as happy as I thought they would, but I did attain my goals.
Absolutely. So let's go back to your childhood. Talk to me a little bit about where you were born and raised and how some of these seeds got to you to be an author and to be as highly driven as you are in your life.
Yeah, I was born in Manhattan. I grew up in New Jersey and Massachusetts. I spent about 20 years as an adult in Manhattan before moving to Massachusetts, which is where I live now. In terms of the seeds that started my pursuit of spiritual fulfillment, I think as a teenager, I always felt like things didn't make sense. I always thought there was more to the world than caught the eye, and I was always searching. I was always searching for something that made sense. And when I first found my spiritual practice, it was when I was about 17 years old. I went with a friend's mother to a local bookstore, and this was way before I found A Course in Miracles. I found an astrology book called Linda Goodman's Love Signs. I didn't know anything about astrology at the time, but something intrigued me about the book. I opened the book to the introduction, and I read through it, and all of a sudden light bulbs after light bulbs went off in my head, and I've memorized quite a few paragraphs in this book, and what I thought was very impactful was a paragraph specifically about Jesus Christ. Now, I was not religious at the time. I'm still not religious. I would call myself spiritual. But what Linda Goodman wrote is Jesus himself never claimed that he was divine. What I have done, you can do also and more. Go thou and do likewise. These are not claims of spiritual exclusivity. What was being demonstrated were manifestations of the divine within each of us, miracles we could all perform, though not without sacrifice, not without certain disciplines to bring mind, body, and emotions under control. And that is A Course in Miracles in a nutshell, because what she was saying is we can all be like Jesus Christ, which is this enlightened state of being, which is just coming from a place of unconditional love at all times. And if Jesus could do it, I could do it. And I thought that was so super exciting. So since then, I've had ups and downs, but that has always been my goal. And then I found A Course in Miracles.
What a great explanation. What a great way of putting things, because that does kind of put things more into focus. And it is. I mean, I think that's the alluring prospect of spirituality is getting to an enlightened level that is attainable as a human.
Yes.
For sure. So in your life, who's been a role model for you? Somebody who's really driven you and inspired you to be who you are?
Marianne Williamson brought me to A Course in Miracles when I was 25 years old. So she was a definite role model for me. Lately, I've heard that through the news media that she's had some challenges with her own emotions, but I guess that's just part of her humanity. We all have, divinity and humanity. She's the most well-known speaker that I know of A Course in Miracles. So she is definitely a role model. I love the way she communicates it. I love the way she articulates it. She is very well-spoken and very clear, because I read the text myself frequently, and I love the way she articulates it. My greatest role model is Jesus Christ, and he wrote A Course in Miracles, and he tells us through A Course in Miracles that he does not want us to worship him. He wants us to be like him. So he's my greatest role model, and I kind of see the essence of who he is. Like, I try to put him on the same platform as myself in my mind. I try to stay away from worshiping him because that's what religion teaches, but I don't find that very helpful. That would be another role model. And then, there are different role models that I have. I like people that are very, that they speak their own truth, no matter what other people think. I like independent thinkers. I've always liked Jane Fonda. She's another role model because I find her to be very strong, very articulate, and I don't necessarily agree with everything she says, but I like the way she, especially when she was younger, always spoke her mind.
So if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now and spend a little time with them, who would it be?
Marianne Williamson. Yeah, Marianne Williamson. Yeah. She's running for president right now. I think she's 70 years old. I would love to talk to her and learn more about how her perception of A Course in Miracles. I think that would be fabulous. Oh, and another one, Oprah Winfrey. I think Oprah Winfrey is amazing. Oprah Winfrey, I believe, is very Christian in her belief system, but I know she's very open-minded and very open to the teachings of many authors and speakers that I admire that are Course in Miracles students, such as Eckhart Tolle. Oh, there's so many of them. Deepak Chopra. She partners up with Deepak Chopra. Wayne Dyer passed away, but I believe she had them all on her show, so she knows them all. That would be amazing, talking to Oprah Winfrey.
So every day you wake up, we have things that we want to do and get done that motivates us. What is the ultimate motivator for you? What gets you and fuels you through your set day?
Well, what motivates me is the quest I have created for myself to connect with my potential and my purpose. I think that's what motivates me. I guess when I get out of bed, it's important for me to plug myself into my God socket as soon as I can. I guess I get up in a very neutral state of mind, but I use my discipline. I do think discipline is necessary to maintain motivation and a positive mindset. So to be honest, yesterday on Easter, I skipped my morning ritual of going through the Course in Miracles workbook lesson and my meditation. I know it was Easter, but for some reason I decided, I'm going to get right into my work, and I need to create this seminar, for this book event, and I skipped my morning rituals, and then I realized everything turned into a struggle. So this morning, I was very careful to plug myself into my God socket as soon as possible, and go into my Course in Miracles lesson, and then I listened to a YouTube version of my Course in Miracles lesson, then go into my meditation, and when I can just come from that place of peace, love, joy, and happiness that I write about and I teach, I just feel very excited about going about my day. I also try not to work too hard or not to try to get too much done. I try to be totally present in everything that I do. I had a long conversation with my best friend last night on the phone about that. It's very important for me to just focus on one task at a time and not place my sense of self or my sense of satisfaction on what I accomplish in the world. So as long as I'm fully present in the moment and I'm doing the best I can, I feel good about myself.
So let's say you have a dream tonight. You run into the 20-year-old version of yourself, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained in your life. What would you tell that young version?
When I was 20 years old, I tried to commit suicide. That was the very vulnerable time in my life. When I wrote my book to that 20-year-old version of myself. So what I would do with that 20-year-old self, who just feels so desperate, is I would love her. I would tell her that everything is going to be okay, that maybe she can't, I know she can't see it at the time, but just to trust that there will be a transformation and that I will be there for her to make sure that she is safe and she is loved and she's protected. I would tell her just to hang on and to trust, and there's so much light that's coming up in the near future, although it might be difficult for her to see right now. And then I'm going to write her a book and tell her all about it, so she has a lot to look forward to.
That's excellent. So, of all of the things that you've done in your life and accomplished, what are you the proudest of?
Well, I'm very proud that I finished my book, because that has been a goal that I've had for a very long time. I'm proud of, I guess, different things that I've done. I don't quit. I continue doing things until I feel like I've learned my lesson from them. I'm very proud that I'm still 33 years later studying and teaching A Course in Miracles, because this is one clear path to peace, love, joy, and happiness. And when I can incorporate the principles of what I study into my life, I'm happy. So I'm proud of that.
Excellent. So let me ask you this. Everyone out there has a perception of you, an idea of who they think you are, your family, your friends, readers, clients, colleagues, but ultimately you live your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I think that I am focused. I think that I'm strong. I think that I think when I can surrender and let go to a power greater than myself, there's nothing that I can't do. I think there's two sides to me also. I think when I can connect to Christ consciousness, when I can plug myself into my God socket, when I can live in truth, I think I have so many great qualities. I think I'm funny. I think I'm focused. I think that I'm disciplined. I also know that I have challenges because I have suffered from depression, and I know that is also a part of me. So it's a part of myself that I do my best to embrace, to love. I mean, overall, I would say that I was thinking about that this morning in my meditation. I believe I have my mother and my father. They both passed, but I believe I have those qualities within me. My father was very strong. He was very disciplined. He was very focused. Those were his good traits. My mother was very nurturing. She was very kind. She was open-hearted, unconditionally loving. I would always compare my mother to Mother Teresa. So I believe I have the qualities of both my father and my mother within me. And I'm very grateful for the character traits that they taught me and that I embody. I have my father. He passed not that long ago. He passed about a year ago. So I have his ashes in a little casket on a mantle that I have in my room, and then I have an angel and a little plaque that symbolizes my mother, who died a very long time ago. But I do believe I have both their character traits, the best and the worst, inside of me. So I think I have a lot of great qualities, just like everybody else. I don't see myself as special. I have access to a lot of empowering qualities, just like everybody else. So I'm grateful for that.
So, Susan, if anyone out there wants to learn more about you, anything involving your services, anything that you do, where's the best place to go on the web?
SurenderToJoy.net. Yes, it's SurenderToJoy.net. My book was just released yesterday, Easter, on Amazon. Surrender to Joy, From Suicide to Serenity, Teaching the Transformational Truth of A Course in Miracles by Susan Michel. So on Amazon they can buy my book, and my website is SurenderToJoy.net. And if they put their email address in, I will make sure to keep them posted on my upcoming events.
Beautiful. Susan, thank you for opening up such a good, wonderful personal story of overcoming and survival and everything in between. I appreciate it. Best of luck with everything.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so very much.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.